Sometimes it is stated that Brahmavarta is a part of Kurukshetra, or that Kurukshetra itself is situated in Brahmavarta. Because the demigods are recommended to perform spiritual, ritualistic performances in Kurukshetra. But in others' opinion, Brahmavarta is a place in Brahmaloka where Swayambhuva ruled. The many places on the surface of this earth which are also known in the higher planetary systems. We have places on this planet like Vrindavan, Dwaraka and Mathura, but they are also eternally situated in Krishna Loka. There are many similar names on the surface of the earth, and it may be in the Bohr age Swayambhuva Manu ruled this planet as stated here. The word Mangalaha is significant. Mangalaha means one who is elevated in every respect, in the opulences of religious performances, ruling power, cleanliness, and all other good qualities. Vikhyata means celebrated. Swayambhuva Manu was celebrated for all good qualities and opulences. So the Supreme Lord is speaking to Kardama Muni. He is saying here that Swayambhuva Manu is the son of Brahma, who is known for his righteous acts. He is residing in Brahmavarta, and then he rules over the earth with 7 planets, 7 oceans. So, Prabhupada is explaining here that two opinions are there. One is that Brahmavarta is a place in Brahmaloka, and another is it is a Kurukshetra itself on this earth, that is Brahmavarta. And similarly, there are many places on the surface of the earth which are known in the higher planetary systems, which are simultaneously existing there and here, like Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwaraka. These are all eternal places. They are in the spiritual world. They also descend down onto this earth. And these are all places where one can get access to spiritual world within the material world. Just like you can get access to America by going into the American embassy in India. So in the same way, these spiritual planets, they are all descended on the earth where the Lord performs His pastimes, and they are all available for anybody who is interested in going into the eternal world to serve the Lord in these holy dhams. The principle is the same. Whatever is the principle in the deity, incarnation of deity, same is the principle in the incarnation of the holy dhams. Same is the principle of incarnation in the holy name. The Lord being omnipotent, then He becomes accessible to our material senses through His various incarnations. So by respecting, honoring Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwaraka, by living there and serving the holy dham, having faith that this is the holy dham, this is the land of Krishna, having that faith, one can actually start seeing the transcendental dimension which is existing there. Just like when we see the deity in the beginning as a neophyte, we cannot experience the presence of the Supreme Lord in the deity form. You will only experience the deity as a material form. To experience the deity form is a transcendental form which is coexisting in the spiritual dimension, in the deity, that is not experienced unless one has got devotion. Respect, devotion and service will connect one to the various incarnations of the Lord in the transcendental dimensions. Atana Krishna bhaved, Tashi Krishna bhaved, na indriya. You cannot capture Krishna by any of our indriyas. We can attract the Lord by our devotion. Only by our devotion, our service mood, our attitude, by humility, we can attract the Lord to reveal Himself in the deity, in the holy name, in the dham, in the prasadam, in the devotional activities. There is no difference between the Lord, His name, His activities, His glories, no difference. They are all absolute. They are absolute. So every incarnation of the Lord on this earth is a very merciful descendants of the Lord. They are the Lord filled with, Lord has His Leela. He is filled with His compassion for the living entities. He makes Himself available. It is only by serving these incarnations, respecting this incarnation, serving them with faith, that one comes out of the bodily concept of life, and he also goes to his transcendental concept of life. Right now in this body we have this identity, I am this body. Behind it the soul is there. So now our bodily identity is active. Now our bodily identity or the social identity that I am this body is what is active. Most of the time we are spending our time with our identities in this material world, the material identity of this body. Somehow even that identity what we have, I am this body, should be purified of all its material desires. That is the first step, to dovetail all the desires of the identity to serve the Supreme Lord. Then automatically those identities will become purified. Even if you think I am the body, you will get purified. You become a servant of the Lord. And to make such service realistic, therefore, the Lord says, okay, here with your material tongue you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You start your service with your material tongue you chant. Then you get purified. Then you get purified. And one day with your spiritual tongue you will chant. You have to awaken your spiritual tongue. You have to purify your material tongue. So think of my glories with your present mind. It becomes purified and purified and purified. And that will awaken our spiritual mind, which is always, originally, it is sleeping now. It is full of glories of the Lord. The knowledge about the Lord is already there in the Atma. So that is the principle of the various incarnations of the Lord. One should be very much aware of these merciful incarnations, and it is by serving these incarnations that one can quickly progress in spiritual life, come out of the material concept of life and go into the spiritual concept of life, that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Otherwise, look at this, what a joke it is. Every identity vanishes at the time of death. This is the biggest mystery. We think we are this identity and it vanishes. Even our own past identity has vanished. My identity as a boy has vanished. But my individuality which is behind that identity is still there now. So now we have to understand that right now, I have to identify myself with my individuality, not with my identity. Krishna says, there was never a time when you did not exist, nor all these people in this battlefield, they always existed. That is, he's talking about that individual existence. Now Arjuna is saying, no, I cannot kill these people and all that. Krishna is saying, no, they are all identities. They are not individuality. Denosminyata dehe kaumaram yavanam jaratata dehantara praptir dhirastatranam huyati. This individuality, this individual will take another identity. So if you have that fine intelligence to differentiate between the individuality and identity, one can have hundreds of identities. One has got hundreds of identities in his mind. Identities are created so that we can relate with the outside world. When you relate with your son, you generate your identity as a father. When you relate with your wife, you generate your identity as a husband. When you relate with anything as a general manager, you relate with your employees. It's an identity. They're all identities created. They are not absolute. When the person thinks that I am husband, I am father, I am general manager, he falls into illusion. That's why the whole world is running like that. The whole world is running like that. We understand that these identities have to be accepted in order to relate with the outside world for service of Krishna, not for my rasa. The devotees deal with identities. There are devotee fathers, there are devotee husbands, there are devotee wives, there are devotee general managers, there are devotee temple president, there are devotee GBCs. All are identities. But those identities are not for individual rasa. Those identities are adopted to give rasa to Guru and Krishna. The moment you identify with self for that, for rasa for yourself, then it becomes false ego. So entire life is nothing but play with identities. The living entity is identifying, and it is, now that identification, can it be purified? That is important. When the individual has a desire for individual Satchidananda independent pleasure through those identities, then it becomes false ego. When these identities are for pure service of Krishna, just like we say founder Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, this is an identity. He is the eternal servant of Krishna. His eternal identity we do not know. But his individuality is there, it is manifesting in this world as, let's say, founder Acharya of ISKCON. It is a pure exercise of identifying energy for the sake of devotion service of the Lord. That identity as a founder Acharya is as pure as his pure identity. Because his heart is pure, he is a pure devotee of the Lord, he has no other desire than the desire of the Lord. So as a founder Acharya, he has no other desire than the desire of the Lord. He is the founder Acharya of Krishna. He is not founder Acharya of anybody, he is founder Acharya of Krishna, Krishna's pure representative. So in the same way, we cannot function in the world if we don't have identities. Need to have identities. Identities will define our relationship with the material world. But when you think I am that and want to take rasa out of it, lauding rasa or enjoying rasa, then that identity becomes contaminated. That is false ego. That is why bhakti is defined as ahetuki apratihata. It should be costless. Material identities in this world, we are conditioned. We keep on adopting identities only for one purpose, rasa for me. That is why we adopt identities. A child is thinking, I want to become something. I want to become something, he is thinking. What does it mean? He wants an identity like that to relate to this material world. Because he heard that if I become that, these are all the payoffs. These are all the Satya Chitta Ananda payoffs. He has figured out. from the society. People have told, if you become a pilot, all these things. If you become an engineer, all these things. If you become a doctor, somewhere they will relate, oh, that doctor, see how nicely, what nice life they have. He will immediately paste that. And in the same way, suppose somewhere somebody is telling the child, you become this. Why don't you become something? Let's say, why don't you become a doctor? And if the child has got some bad experience of seeing some doctors, the child will say, no, I don't want to become a doctor. Pain and pleasure. For your rasa, you become something. Such powerful, the soul is so powerful. Within itself it can create beings. This is the highest level of self-control. Self-control is at the level of what you want to be. For instance, you should decide, I want to be a pure devotee of Srila Prabhupada. I want to be a nice disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Create these identities. Not for social. I don't want society to measure that I am a pure devotee or not. I don't want the world to clap that I am a pure devotee. But I want for myself. I want to judge for myself whether I am a pure devotee, whether I am following the standards. Whether I am a good disciple. I am going to measure always myself. Am I a good disciple? I want to be a good disciple of Prabhupada. When there is conflict of senses, sense gratification or not, don't fight for that, sense gratification or not. Shift your free will to whether I want to be that sense gratifier or not. The mistake we do is, I want to be the sense gratifier, but now I should control this. So there is at the root, you are supplying energy, I want to be, and this is called restraint. False restraint. So first we have to make a choice, I want to be what? I don't want to be an enjoyer, I want to give enjoyment to Krishna. Because I am not an independent enjoyer, I am a super enjoyer. Generally when we say I am not an enjoyer, you become depressed. Only Krishna is the enjoyer, I am not the enjoyer. This philosophy doesn't go inside. So you have to say I am not the enjoyer, but I am a super enjoyer. In the material world, Krishna says you are all misers. What does miser mean? You do not know how to use your wealth. Then it's called miser. So much money is there, you keep it stocked and you don't use it. It's called a miser. So in the material world, we are all misers. Because we do not know our capacity to enjoy in association of Krishna as super enjoyers. Bhakti rasa is such an enjoyment. Bhakti rasa surpasses all enjoyments. It is of another quality. You cannot even compare. That may be also called enjoyment. Just like iron and gold, both are metals. But can you compare the value of it? Cannot. In the same way, in the material world, whatever we are enjoying, we are like beggars enjoying some crumbs of food thrown to us. How do beggars enjoy? Do they enjoy royally? No. They enjoy like crows. Somebody gives some waste, they'll take and enjoy. Everybody in this material world, even the best enjoyer, is a crow. Because he does not know his potential. What is his enjoyment in association with Krishna? What is the experience of love in association with Krishna? What is the experience of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna? What it means to receive the love from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna? What it means to receive that from the Lord? What it means to be situated in pure knowledge and not in illusion about myself? what it means to know my real self-dignity, who I am. Not this stupid machine, this body. That is why he is called miser. Anybody who thinks he is a body is a miser. Because if you think I am the body, then you have created an identity, I am the body, and therefore I am the body means your nature is Satchidananda. So you try to get Satchidananda for this body. So therefore Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita starts teaching right from the beginning. Give up the sense enjoyment which arising out of mental concoction. As long as you think that you have senses, then you are in Maya. You should think this body is a yantra, there are no senses there. Senses exist only in the spiritual world. Only you project the spiritual senses onto this material body. There are no bodies in this world. Actually, you think you have a body. The soul has actually no body in this material world. Means it does not have a spiritual body. The soul's nature is to have a spiritual body. But it does not have a body in this material world. It is bodiless. Spiritual bodiless. Therefore, it adopts false bodies in this material body. Just like the ghost enters somebody, the ghost doesn't get a real body. What does it do? The ghost goes into another body and tries to use that body. Similarly, in the material world, we are all ghosts, haunted ghosts. We are all haunted by this body, this bodily identity. We are haunted. The word Mangala is significant. Mangala means one who is elevated in every respect in the opulence of religious performances, ruling power, cleanliness, all other good qualities. Vikhyata means celebrated. Swayambhuva Manu was celebrated for all good qualities and opulences. And if you stay within the material world, there is Tamoguna, Rajoguna, Sattoguna. So when you come closer to Sattoguna, then the pleasure of Sattoguna is closer to purer pleasure of the spiritual world. And therefore in the material world it is celebrated. At least get the taste of Sattoguna. So material world is created like that, so that human being creates value for sattvic taste, higher taste of enjoyment, which brings auspiciousness, cleanliness, and all other good qualities. The same thing happens when we are surrounded by a pure devotee of the Lord. All auspicious qualities are manifest in him, personal qualities. And we get completely influenced. Our soul becomes influenced by those qualities because in our life we have not seen those qualities. In ordinary identities you don't see. What you see in the founder Acharya, you don't see in everybody. His compassion, his love, his sacrifice, his devotion to the Supreme Lord, his determination, his hard work, selfless, freedom from all self-interest. When you see all these things, you see, oh, this is so wonderful. When you interact with such a person, you see, it's so wonderful. Because somewhere the soul gets, because soul is not seeing any real souls anywhere. They're all seeing only competitors. A pure devotee is not a competitor. He's come here to give mercy, to give us everything. What Krishna wants to give, he wants to give that out. That is why he is descended. All his activities are about giving to the living entity. Take it, take it. Take what you are entitled. You are a spirit soul, you are entitled. You are very dear to Krishna. Not your identity. Your identity may not be dear to Krishna. Of course, if it is pure identity in service of Krishna, Krishna gets attached to the body of a pure devotee also. Bhagavatam says, 11th canto. Krishna gets attached to the body of a pure devotee also. That means that identity. Krishna is attached to Prabhupada's this form also. So as far as we are concerned, when you should understand that Krishna loves us all, but he loves our soul. That's why somebody said, God loves us all, then why doesn't he, I want this, why it is making me suffer like this? The answer would be, yeah, God loves you, but it's not it's not the real you who wants these things. There's some ghost sitting inside you who wants those things. So God doesn't love those ghosts. He loves you very much. He loves every living entity, but doesn't love those ghosts. And he is impleading, he is continuously preaching to you, give up those ghosts. Give up those ghosts. Situate yourself in truth. You are eternal servant of mine. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. By Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we understand our happiness in the spiritual world. We come to know there is a higher enjoyment in the spiritual world through this Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Is there any other way a person can get convinced that there is higher enjoyment in the spiritual world? Apart from this first class intelligence where?
No, apart from first class intelligence, you see, next is you practice it and see. Then you will see. When you see, if you hear with full faith, you want to get that quality is very difficult in this Kali Yuga. People who are situated in Sattva Guna, immediately it sinks into your soul. But when lower gunas are there, what you hear, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, doesn't go and touch the soul. Now and then, by Prabhupada's mercy, something he says and it goes straight in. By its power, it goes and penetrates your heart and it strikes you and some transformation happens. Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But the other ways are when you practice it, experientially you realize Krishna is seated in our heart and he gives us the realization that of truth. What is illusion? See, it's all about illusion and reality. Guru, Sadhu and Shastra are talking about what? Truth. They are exposing what is illusion. That's all it is. So if you are a seeker of truth, then guided by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, you will start discovering so many things within yourself. That's called realization. You will start realizing. By devotion service, by seeing how it is a scam. See, now we do not know how it is a scam. You need to understand how it is a scam. How sense gratification is a scam. How it is a manogatan. How it is created by the mind, by mental concoction. First you identify yourself wrongly, that I am this body. Then that Mr. Body starts concoction. Because Mr. Body is a Mr. Mind. Together they concoct. And then they create. There is no real enjoyment anywhere in this material world. From matter you cannot squeeze out any enjoyment. Matter does not have ananda. There is no ananda content in matter. But we have tendencies to believe, if you take a rasgulla and you say that rasgulla is sweet, you say. But actually, rasgulla is not sweet. In the spiritual world, rasgulla is sweet. The object is sweet. It is the nature of the object. So in the material world, these things are phenomenally created in collusion with the mind, right from childhood conditioning. And then you say, this is good, this is bad, all dualities. Entire duality is created by our mind from our childhood. Good and bad, happiness and distress, success and failure. Any other question? Jai Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.